Hello and welcome back to Man v Film. It's that time for another 10 movies to keep you somewhat occupied during what looks to be another few weeks of sitting in the house. So let's just dive into these 10 great movies that I've curated just for you, lovely people out there, and let's get started. Number 10, The Social Network. On a fall night in 2003, Harvard undergrad and computer programming genius Mark Zuckerberg sits down at his computer and heatedly begins working on a new idea. In a fury of blogging and programming, what begins in his dorm room soon becomes a global social network and revolution in communication. A mere 6 years and 500 million friends later, Zuckerberg is the youngest billionaire in history. But for this entrepreneur, success leads to both personal and legal complications. Sometimes you just need a little kick to remember how fantastic The Social Network is. Consider this, that kick. I recently rewatched this and I just utterly love it. The Facebook movie has no right as being as captivating, as wonderful and as endlessly rewatchable as it is. I've watched this countless times and I love it. David Fincher directs the hell out of this and Jesse Eisenberg has never been better. If you haven't seen it, or if it's been a while, let's give it a shot once more. Number 9, Bleed for This. The inspirational story of World Championship boxer Vinny Pazienza, who after a near fatal crash which left him not knowing if he'd ever walk again, made one of sport's most incredible comebacks. Bleed for This is a rather tropey movie. It's based on a true story, but it feels very much akin to most boxing movies as we watch someone fall from grace, only having to work exceptionally hard to try and regain where he was originally, where he didn't really appreciate where he was. But it is wonderfully rousing. It has a fantastic aerial shot of a car crash, which is just breathtaking. And it's one of those just movies that makes you sit up and cheer at the end of it if you watch this character who's been up and down throughout the movie finally possibly get that chance to make history. Number 8, Hail Caesar. Hollywood, 1950s. Eddie Mannix is head of physical production at Capitol Studios. His life is one of non-stop action. Casting issues, production issues, keeping the studio stars in line, ensuring the studio avoids negative publicity, dealing with the press and playing matchmaker to the studio's stars. Amongst other things, his current main issue is the one of the biggest studio stars, Braid Whitlock, has been kidnapped by communist screenwriters. But it's all in a day's work for Eddie Mannix. If you're a fan of older cinema, if you're a fan of movies and movie making, the Coen brothers comedy, which is delightfully entertaining, showcases a lot of different genres from that time. It's wonderful to just kind of touch in and out, almost anecdotal in the way that it shows you the stars and their proclivities of the time. It's tied together by Josh Brolin's wonderful performance as Mannix, who's struggling all the way through this to deal with everything that's going on in this heyday of this studio, and it's just delightful and entertaining. What more could you ask for? Number 7, Bloodsport. Frank Dux has spent most of his life being trained by Tanaka to participate in the Kumite, the ultimate martial arts tournament, where participants are seriously injured, even killed. Frank decides to go despite being told by his superiors in the army that he can't because they need him. 2 army officers are sent to get him and the trail leads to Hong Kong, but Frank eludes them. While Frank advances, he knows that he may have to face Chong Li, the defending champion, who has killed a few participants. We're talking 1988, early Jean-Claude Van Damme, where it's at its most raw and pure entertainment. I will always champion Bloodsport if you're a fan of action movies and you want just a cheese fest of great fighting, ridiculous moments and just, well, pure fun as well as splits, then this is the movie for you. Number 6, COFEE and KAREEM. While police officer James COFEE enjoys his new relationship with Vanessa Manning, her beloved 12-year-old son KAREEM plots their breakup. Attempting to scare away his mum's boyfriend for good, KAREEM tries to hire criminal fugitives to take him out, but accidentally exposes a secret network of criminal activity, making his family its latest target. To protect Vanessa, KAREEM teams up with COFEE, the partner he never wanted, for a dangerous chase across Detroit. This is one of these movies that is either something you're willing to give a chance or you just have no interest in at all. Ed Helms plays COFEE, and it is a ridiculously tropey movie. You've seen lots of these things before. The foul-mouthed young kid, the incompetent police officer, two people forced to come together to try and fight the greater good, either though they're not the best together. But I kind of like the engagement between the two characters. It had some funny moments. It takes huge leaps in logic and it just becomes completely silly. But I kind of needed that. I needed that just cathartic feeling of not having to think during a movie, not having to take it seriously, because things happen just for the sake of happening and because they're kind of funny. I enjoyed it. This one's getting a lot of hate. It may not be for you. If after 10 minutes you're not enjoying it, it might be time just to turn this one off. I kind of liked it. Number 5, Angel Has Fallen. After training in the facility of his friend Wade Jennings, Mike Banning travels up with his team to protect President Turnbull in a fishing trip. However, they are attacked by drones that kills 18 agents, and only the wounded Mike and Trumbull in comas survive. When Mike awakens at the hospital, he is cuffed to the bed, accused of attempting to assassinate Trumbull. Soon he learns that he was framed, and now he has to prove his innocence to protect the life of Trumbull. Angel Has Fallen is wonderfully over the top. The explosions have explosions. It is ridiculously big and loud and in your face, but it owns it. It knows the movie it wants to be and it just achieves it. This was ridiculously fun. We get Nick Nolte as Jared Butler's father in this, and it's perfect casting. Like I said, this has more explosions than anything else, and it's all the better for having it. I think this is a terrific film and a great wrap-up of a trilogy. Number 4, The Florida Project. Mooney lives in the shadow of the happiest place on earth, and for her, maybe it is. The little girl calls the Magic Kingdom home, not Disney World itself, but rather a garish pink hotel so close to the famous resort that she can hear the fireworks from the parking lot each night. She never seen Cinderella's castle, never taken the Jungle Cruise, never plunged down the waterfall in the Pirates of the Caribbean ride, never took a spin in those blasted teacups. No matter, Orlando's kitschy tourist strip is all the wonderland she needs. The Florida Project is a movie that has to be seen. It is wonderful. It's a slice of life of characters who you really get enveloped and engrossed in their life. Seeing it from these young kids and specifically their point of view is both heartbreaking and just wonderful to see that ultimate freedom that they have, not realising how hard life is going to get for them as they get older and older. It is wonderfully staged. It's greatly performed by the kids. You get Willem Dafoe as the wonderful manager of this motel as well. Everything about it is absolutely delightful. Even though the story's kind of heartbreaking, you kind of enjoy it and get caught up in this ride for most of it. Number 3, The Killing of a Sacred Deer. Dr. Stephen Murphy is a renowned cardiovascular surgeon who presides over a spotless household with his wife and 2 children. Lurking at the margins of his idyllic suburban existence is Martin, a fatherless teen who insinuates himself into the doctor's life in gradually unsettling ways. Soon the full scope of Martin's intent becomes menacingly clear when he confronts Stephen with a long-forgotten transgression that will shatter his domestic bliss forever. Yorgos Lanthimos' fantastic Killing of a Sacred Deer is a movie that is going to put you in the back foot. It's strange the way it's filmed. It's unsettling tone, framing, the way the actors talk without any contractions at all, the strange lingering camera on seemingly unimportant details, all patchworks together into a wonderful movie that is really off kilter, really fascinating, and it just doesn't explain everything that's going on at the heart of it. And that's perfectly fine. We don't need it. It's just a wonderful insight into this life and this intent that is happening throughout the movie. Number 2, Code 8. In a world where people with special abilities are living in poverty, Connor Reed is a powerful young man who is struggling to pay for his ailing mother's medical treatment. To earn money, he joins a lucrative criminal world led by Garrett, who works for a drug lord. Code 8 is more like a realistic X-Men movie where these people who were once a part of society and used to help build things are no longer required and are sidelined. They are marginalised. They are the lowest rung of the human chain, and they are just struggling to make ends meet. And more often than not, they have to turn to, well, not the most honest of measures. And this is about a character who is learning his powers and what he can actually do with it, and how he can make some cash that he really needs to help his family. It's engaging, it's fun, it's got amazing special effects. It's one of those movies that just kind of ekes by with nobody talking about it. It's time to check out this fun-filled movie. Number 1, Extraction. In an underworld of weapons dealers and traffickers, a young boy becomes the pawn in a war between notorious drug lords. Trapped by kidnappers inside one of the world's most impenetrable cities, the rescue beckons the unparalleled skill of a mercenary named Tyler Rake. But Rake is a broken man, with nothing to lose, harbouring a death wish that makes an already deadly mission near impossible. Chris Hemsworth stars as Rake, and this is a movie that has a very typical plot. You can see what's coming a mile away. It doesn't offer much in the form of surprises, but I'm going to partner this movie up with John Wick. It was a movie that was very similar, had a very bland, banal plot, but just infused it with such gut-wrenching, fun-packed action spectacular that you couldn't tear away from it. This movie quickly sets into gear and never takes a moment to breathe. It has exciting action set piece after exciting action set piece. There are riotously funny moments. There is death by the bucketload, blood, bullets, fighting. It has it all. Chris Hemsworth is badass as all hell with this one, and I really enjoyed Extraction. It's a movie that I'm probably going to forget, but I remember having a wonderful time at it at the moment. There is one particularly standout scene for me where a group of kids, young gangsters, attack him and he has to just slap them silly rather than punching them. It's kind of funny, but the movie has so much going for it that I may go back and revisit it just to see that action spectacular once more. So there we have it, 10 great movies for you to check out this month. I hope you find something there that you really want to watch. And if I've missed something out, let me know in the comment box below with a recommendation, and I will happily check that out. I've got lots of time on my hands at the moment. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on Man v Film.